Hello and welcome, I am Arumba, thank you for joining me. This is my agenda for November the 28th, 2017. I want to talk about what my plans are for the next few weeks coming up in the final months, or final weeks here, of 2017. And also kind of touch on the initial game plan for 2018. So, where do we begin? First things first, let's address the elephant in the room. Why has my video content been reduced? Well, there's been a number of reasons. First and foremost is that my wife and I, we were gone for quite a while. We went on a 3-week trip to Europe, which was great and long overdue, and it was a great thing to be able to take my wife with me on one of the events that I go to for work. And then we kind of extended it for a couple extra weeks so we could do some tourism. And that was wondrous. It does take a lot of time out of my schedule and put me behind a little bit in recordings, but that's not the only reason, of course. I mean, I've had trips in the past, I've planned around trips in the past, but it is part of the reason. We've also had a number of other trips that have happened, and I swear this is the year of sickness. Like, we have had... When I got back from Europe, I was sick for like 2 weeks straight. I think airplanes and I are just not getting along right now. Naturally, I went up to my family in Michigan to see them for Thanksgiving, and already we've been literally home for like 2 days, and 2 of my children are already sick with horrible fevers, horrible vomiting and diarrhea, and I just know it's going to happen, and it's horrible. I hate how often we are getting sick, but what can you do, right? So hopefully that'll stop being a problem. It has definitely affected my work time and ethic. Not feeling well is a horrible position to be in when you want to try to record. So that's affected things. But let's talk about the real reason, the main reason. Those are kind of support functions that have caused this to have occurred, but not really the main reason. I do want to just address the fact that I understand there's not much going on the screen. This is mostly more of a podcast type thing. I just want to talk. I don't really have much to show you today. I just have a sheet of notes to refer to, and then we're going to go from there. So I have this thing in my own personal history where I basically once every 3 or 4 years, seems to be getting longer between cycles, but it was originally every 2 to 3 years. Now it's like 3 to 4 years. I just have a tendency to get really bored with everything. Bored's not even the right word. It's more like apathetic. And I think what triggers it is that I get this way when I feel like I've kind of like learned what I need to learn to do the job that I do. So it's usually career-based. I worked in a restaurant for about 3 years, and then I stopped. And then I worked in insurance as an insurance agent for about 3 years, and then I stopped doing that, and I became a manager. I had to do something different. I had to learn how to manage people, otherwise I was just bored. And the way that type of problem manifested in like insurance, for example, was I just stopped running as many appointments and just stopped caring as much about doing my job, quite frankly. And now it's been 4.5 years that I've been doing YouTube. And while I'm not saying like, hey, don't freak out here. I'm not saying like, oh, hey, Arumba's quitting, he's going to go do something else. No, that's not at all what I mean. It's just that I've got to find a way to work through this mental obstacle/hurdle that just seems to recur in my life. And it's not just me. I've actually read about this quite a bit. It's a very common problem, and my manager in the insurance business actually noticed it in me and tried to work me through it back then. That's actually why he put me into management at the time, was that he had seen it before, and it's a common cycle, and some of you might resonate with it. You'll understand it. So a big part of it for me in this line of work has been that a couple of the major transitions I had expected to make didn't really work out, and it left me playing the same games over and over and over again, and that's kind of where some of the redundancy and inconsistency and just like boredom started to come from for me. Don't get me wrong, I love Europa Universalis 4. I played it, for hours yesterday because I wanted to. I still do enjoy playing like Crusader Kings 2, but talking about EU4 has been out for over 4 years now, and Crusader Kings 2 has been out for like 6, and it's hard to play the same game day in, day out, and and still keep it light and interesting and enjoy it as much as I did when it first came out. So for me, I mean, I think it's not like hidden information or anything, but I was really expecting Hearts of Iron 4 and Stellaris to become the new primary content of the channel when those games came out. And I was just kind of incredibly disappointed with those games. Outside of the initial campaigns that I did and a recent stint where I tried playing Stellaris with some mods, I haven't touched those games in over a year, which is just unfortunate. You know, when I first started making videos on YouTube, it was for Crusader Kings 2 content, and then EU4 came out, and I very quickly transitioned to about a 50-50, maybe even 60-40 split in favor of EU4. Couldn't see myself playing Hearts of Iron 4 or Stellaris for that many hours a day. Just couldn't do it. They're too simple, too easy to figure out, and all, to be fair, every single thing I was concerned about with Hearts of Iron 4, all the problems I thought that it might have in my initial, like, preview video that I made, like, a couple of years ago when they gave me when I went out to London and played it with them, came true. You know, I worried about its replayability. I worried that you were only ever really going to be able to play as Germany or the United Kingdom or, like, the major countries, and then beyond that, it was just not going to be a very interesting game. And you can only play Germany so many times before you get sick of it. And they keep on making patches that they're not doing themselves any favors. I think the game is just not getting any better. And while Stellaris is a good game, it certainly has an amazing visual and musical appeal to me. It's just not the same. The game, every game plays out the same. You know, it doesn't matter what type of traits you pick. None of that stuff matters. It's all. And when they said they were going to make a 4X game or a space-based grand strategy, and they're like, we're gonna make it so you can start from a single planet and expand into the universe. I was like, that sounds amazing. I've always wished that EU4 had, like, symmetrical starts. Actually, no. You know, I thought I wanted that. But then when I played Stellaris and realized how boring it was to do that, I take it back. I don't like that. Now I know there's advanced aliens and there's fallen empires and all that stuff, but those are just dumb. I don't like fallen empires. I've never enjoyed that mechanic. I don't know why I'm talking about Stellaris so much. It doesn't really have anything to do with my current content, so let's move on. So this brings me to one of the topics I just want to touch on, which is my original, like, couple rules I had about recording content. I initially forced myself to never record when I was tired and never record a game that I wasn't having fun playing. And over the last couple of years, in the last, say, 18 months in particular, I've let that slip. And I've recorded while sick or recorded while not really wanting to play the game, but just playing it because I kind of felt like I had to. I mean, okay, this isn't a pity party, so I want to make sure I keep this agenda in the right perspective. I love my job. I love the opportunity it's afforded my family, and it shouldn't feel like a burden to play a game that I would want to play in my spare time anyway, but sometimes it does feel that way. You know, like, people expect a certain type of content, a certain video, and if I don't produce it, then, well, I don't get the mortgage paid, and that's kind of bad. Now, don't worry, we're okay, we're fine. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I dove into it very quickly because I realized how I could make it financially doable, and it's certainly doing just fine in that regard. But part of it too is I was kind of disappointed that the growth of the channel did not work out the way I had expected. Of course, it was moving into a new business, so I didn't really understand what to expect, but I predicted a much larger growth model, and I think the reason why it didn't work out the way that I thought that it would is because I'm still playing a game I played 4 years ago. Now, originally, if you look back at my first couple of EU4 campaigns, those videos have 100,000 plus views on every of the first one, every first episode. That's because there was more search traffic for that type of content at the time. People were looking for Let's Plays on EU4. Now, not so much. And to you, people who are watching this video, the very loyalist of the loyal Arumba subscribers, you guys you're the ones that are watching the current content of EU4. There's just no one new coming in. There's no search traffic. And so, I guess, to try to prevent this video from going on for like 30 minutes and me not really saying much more than I've already said, I want to move on to like my final point, which is just that I need to fundamentally change the way that I make or decide what to record for the channel in order to keep this thing going. So with that in mind, I'm going to force myself, I think, to go down to a single Europa Universalis 4 campaign at a time. Used to be in the past, sometimes I would have 2 or 3 simultaneous runs going at the same time. That's the definition of simultaneous, of course. And I would put out sometimes 2 or 3 videos of each series a day. There was a time in my channel where I was doing 12 videos a day, 12 slots. I don't want to go back to that. I don't think I need to go back to that. And I was just trying to strike while the iron was hot back then when the content was fresh and new, and that was the main reason I started releasing so much. What I want to try to do is release better quality content that is like more thought about, more thought out. I want to do like tutorial type things, guide type things, tips and suggestions and that kind of stuff. I still want to have an ongoing campaign, of course. I want to have one ongoing EU4 campaign just because it's the core of the channel. I can't not play it, and I do love the game. I just wish you guys liked Common Universalis a bit more because, to be honest, I'd rather be playing that right now than Cradle of Civilization. Although there was a patch and you can play Cradle of Civilization Common Universalis now. But anyway, so one EU4 campaign at a time, and then sporadic, random one-off episodes where, like as an example, a thing I want to make right now is like a 15-minute video just showing how you start the game in the current version as Novgorod, and like how do you beat Muscovy? How do you not die in the first couple of years? Because that's something I've figured out, and I can do very easily and repeat it over and over again. And it got me thinking that that's something people might still actually be interested in searching for, and maybe using as a foundation for their own campaigns. You know? So I want to do one-off videos like that, where I'll just kind of showcase a channel or a nation and show how to start with them, and maybe what some of the idea groups they could go for would be, and what their major hurdles will be. Talk about some of the unique events that the country might experience over the course of the run, that kind of thing. Beyond that, I am going to be doing a Jade Dragon City Kings 2 series. Just one. You'll notice here, one EU4, one CK2. I want to try to keep myself from playing the same games over and over again. I do not plan on releasing another Factorio campaign right now. I tried out the C-Block mod on stream a few weeks ago, and while it was appealing to me, Factorio viewership has never been particularly high, and I just can't justify playing that game anymore. That's another example of a game I shouldn't have played as much as I have, even though it's still technically an early release, early access. I've played it for far too many hours, and there's only so many times you can play Factorio, only so many times you can start a base. And very recently I had a 150 plus episode campaign with Stegio that it ended rather abruptly because of what was going on and everything, but also Stegio just sort of stopped showing up to the scheduled recording sessions on time, and that frustrated me quite a bit. But so what are we going to do with the remaining slots? Well, I can't promise I'm going to be back up to 8 a day tomorrow. My immediate goal is to try to get to 4 a day, and I'm going to fill in the other slots outside of the EU4 and CK2 campaigns with new games. I currently have installed and ready to go on my desktop 15 titles that I had sent off request codes for. And what I want to do is just put myself in a position where I can play new titles that have appealed to me, are interesting. I'm not going to make them into 100 plus episode campaigns. We're just going to try new games, and we're going to find hopefully something new, something that can draw my attention and kind of bring back the spark of learning new content. Because I think when I'm at my very best, I'm learning, and I'm excited to figure out how things work. It's one of the reasons why the Common Universalis mod in EU4 is so appealing to me right now, is trying to figure out the new mechanics that are in that mod. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but think that that intensity and excitement that I have when I'm learning is what draws people to watch. And when I don't have that, it sounds more like I'm not having fun and I'm tired, and it goes against the core intent of the channel. So anyway, please don't be surprised when you see games that you've never seen before and are different from the content you've normally seen. We're talking about, let me just give you a couple of the titles that I'm considering playing. Now, again, these are just let's tries. So it's not like I'm saying, hey, starting tomorrow, the only content you'll see from now on is this game. I'm not saying, like, please unsubscribe now. I'm saying just, bear with me while I go through a transition here and try to find something to enjoy more than I have in the past few 6 to 12 months. So I've got Ancestors Legacy, Avorion. It's an older title, but it looked interesting. Deep Sky Derelicts, Hobo Tough Life. Yes, that's right. It's an RPG about being a hobo. I have a title called Nimbatus, the Space Drone Constructor. Star Control Origins. It's like a throwback, I think, to the original Star Control. Hell, I've even got a game in here called Ultimate Fishing Simulator. And I don't expect that these are titles that people are going to be immediately like, hey, that's an Arumba game. But maybe, just maybe, if I were to fire up Ultimate Fishing Simulator and just play it and learn how the mechanics work, it would be fun. Maybe it would be interesting to see how my mind parses that type of title. I don't know. So anyway, I just wanted to put this video up and let you guys know what my plans were. And I am looking forward. I've been wanting to get back to my normal schedule for a while now. But sometimes I'll just sit down and record, and used to be I could record 20, 30, my absolute record, I think I recorded 37 episodes of an EU4 campaign in one sitting. It was like a 16-hour, 18-hour, something ridiculous recording session because I had a plan for a trip. Sometimes these days I'll sit down and record for 2 hours and just feel like I don't really want to play this game anymore. And that's never really a good position to be in for the viewer, I think. So let me know what your thoughts are. I do appreciate you guys. I absolutely love the opportunity that this has provided me with, and we're very appreciative of you, and I hope that I can continue to deliver content that you are interested in watching. So thanks for your support, thanks for your understanding, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you soon.